Ich will nicht sagen, dass ich zu Hause bin hier. Ich bin zu weit herumgekommen, dass ich irgendwo zu Hause sein kann. Aber ich fühle mich zu Hause, weil ich unter den Büchern lebe, die mein Mann gesammelt hat.
Welcome. My name is Claudia Gordon. I'm the director of Villa Aurora. And together with my colleague Friedel Schmoranzer, head of fellowship programs, Michaela Ullmann of USC's Feuchtwanger Memorial Library, local historian Randy Young, and the lady of the house, I would like to take you on a little tour of the artist residence Villa Aurora, the former home of Leon and Marta Feuchtwanger. The house was built in 1928 as the Los Angeles Times demonstration home in Spanish Revival style to attract wealthy clients to Pacific Palisades, which was scarcely developed at this time. The project was not successful, and after the house was briefly occupied by the Weber family, it stood empty for a number of years. In 1941, Marta and Leon Feuchtwanger arrived in Los Angeles. They had fled Germany for France, where they had lived as exiles for 7 years. In 1943, they discovered the house on Paseo Miramar. They were able to purchase it for $9,000. Marta and Leon had to spend the first nights in the garden because the house was dirty, window panes were broken, and there were even snakes. But it did not take Marta long at all to turn the house into a home, where Leon was able to concentrate on writing his historical novels without being disturbed.
When I first came here, the house was like a secret garden. It was covered in vines. It was a place where there were little areas where they had benches and you could see the house was very important, but the garden was quite extraordinary.
In 2017, Villa Aurora was entrusted with the administration of the Thomas Mann House, purchased by the Federal Republic of Germany in 2016. This small statuette of Marta was created by Jen Lappen, whose family purchased the Thomas Mann House from the Mann family and lived there for more than 60 years. It is a lovely symbol of the connection between the two houses, which has existed for decades.
We're here in the second floor of the house, in Leon Feuchtwanger's study, where the magic happened and where he dictated 7 of his novels and dictated them to his secretary Hilde Waldo on the desk behind me.
Da hat den Goya geschrieben und den Franklin-Roman, den Füchsen Weinberg und seinen letzten Roman, also noch dann die Jüdin von Toledo und den Jefta und seine Tochter.
Adjacent to the study in the so-called sunroom is the former desk of Franz Werfel located. One of many furniture pieces that used to belong to famous German exiles and is now on a permanent loan at Villa Aurora. The Feuchtwangers also regularly hosted evenings here in the so-called study, where Leon Feuchtwanger could present his newest work, and where Thomas Mann, his fellow writer, was the guest of honor and moderator of the German evenings, and another close friend, Charlie Chaplin, was the moderator of the English evenings. So one could say that in this house, not only the who is who of the German immigrants came together, but also the who is who of Hollywood.
Whenever you went upstairs, they'd be talking about a certain book, and they'd say, wait a minute, and they'd go to what was the bathroom, and it was floor to ceiling. It has this beautiful historical tile, but you couldn't see the tile. It was all covered in books.
Also on the second floor are the bedrooms of Marta and Leon Feuchtwanger with their ensuite bathrooms. Our fellows are living in these historic bedrooms and even sleep in the same beds as Marta and Leon. During the renovation, there has been a focus on keeping the historic Malibu tiles intact. You can find these characteristic tiles throughout the house and outside in the patio, but they are particularly beautiful in the bathrooms. Through the bright and open stairwell, we are now coming back to the first floor. The historical dining room almost looks like in Leon and Marta Feuchtwanger's times. This is also the place where we serve drinks so that our guests and fellows can come together and discuss the program. In the adjacent kitchen, our fellows have the opportunity to end the evening with a glass of wine or come together and cook.
We are here in the Salon, the largest room of Villa Aurora. The carpet behind me was purchased by Marta Feuchtwanger from a nearby neighbor and was gifted to Leon as a birthday gift. The 20,000 books in the house, as well as the 10,000 books on campus of the USC libraries, have been catalogued and are accessible through the USC Libraries catalog.
Since 1995, when Villa Aurora opened as an artist residence, most of our public events have taken place here, in the Salon. It is where resident artists present their works to an international public. We also host concerts, lectures, readings, and screenings, including silent movie events where our organ takes center stage. Like many grand homes from the 1920s, Villa Aurora was outfitted with a theater organ. It was restored in 2010 with donations from private donors in the United States and Germany. When the Feuchtwangers lived here, the organ was played by Marta, as well as Hans Eisler and Bruno Walter, who performed a composition created to mark Leon's 70th birthday.
She immediately said, "Oh, please, I want you to come over and have, some sherry and Apfelstrudel." And so we went to this magic room in the back where she had all this sort of mismatching furniture. And she went to the organ pipe cabinet. Now, not everybody has an organ pipe cabinet. And went to this little set of shelves, pulled out the sherry and a tray. She then called upstairs, and who should come but Hilde Waldo, who was the secretary for Leon. And she came and brought the food. And it was a magical time.
In this room, Marta used to serve her guests sherry and cookies. It is now our TV room where you can find another furniture piece of one of Leon Feuchtwanger's friends, the desk of Ludwig Marcuse. The room has been completely soundproofed during our renovation. Therefore, it is often used by our music fellows because here they can be as loud and experimental as they want.
This painting was painted in 1945 by the artist Ernest von Leyden. It seems like the Feuchtwangers didn't like the painting that much because they had it in a less prominent space. Today, however, it's here in the Salon, so that Marta and Leon are always present during events.
When she came into the room, the way she dressed, the way her demeanor was somebody you really listened to, very imposing. Well, what happens is that I asked her, I said, "Gosh, you really pull your hair back." And it looked almost painful. And she says, "Oh yes, a chief facelift."
The Salon opens up to the large deck with a magnificent view of the Pacific Ocean and the garden, which meant the world to Marta.
Und das ist die Bank, auf der Brecht und Feuchtwanger zusammen saßen. Das bekannte Bild, das schon überall abgedruckt wurde, nicht? Da saßen sie zuletzt und die Ruth Berlau hat die Aufnahme gemacht. Das war, ich glaube, 47.
After Leon's death, Marta would continue to live at Villa Aurora for almost 30 more years, supported by Hilde Waldo, Leon's longtime secretary. Since the Feuchtwangers had no surviving children, their daughter Marianne having died in infancy, the Feuchtwangers left their entire estate, including the house and the library, to the University of Southern California. In 1989, the university sold the house to the Friends of Villa Aurora, which had been created in Germany with a goal to preserve Villa Aurora.
Marta was very part of modern American politics at the time. She raged against Ronald Reagan, and she was somebody who was an environmentalist. And a lot of our conversation was kind of saving the mountains that are around this house. She knew the mountains well. She knew the ocean well. She would go every morning go down the hill, walk down. This was into her 90s. She'd walk down the hill, go swimming in the ocean, be back home by 8 o'clock, and would do her phone calls.
We hope you've enjoyed our little tour, and we're looking forward to seeing you in person sometime soon.
Der Schauspieler Humboldt hat zum Beispiel, als er kam, hat gesagt, wo sie hinkommen, sieht es überall gleich aus. Das ist genau wie in Sanary, wo wir gelebt haben. Und auch der Stil des Hauses und dass der Garten so ungeheuer bewachsen ist, das ist alles auch in Frankreich so gewesen.